All right, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Um, does anybody have any questions out of the gate that they want to ask about before I dive into the content for today?
Yes, I do. This is Gretchen.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the probiotic in the box.
it might be wrapped in something.
No?
Um,
Should it
and
say probiotic on it?
it'll say probably thermbiotic.
No. Maybe it's in another box. It's not in this box. Huh. Okay.
Hmm.
I'll keep
Yeah,
looking. Maybe there's another delivery.
why don't you do this? Join the call today now, and then line all of the supplements up and take a picture and send it to my text.
Okay.
And then I can look at what you have and I can tell you which one is the probiotic. Here's the thing is, well, you're brand new, Gretchen, so you don't know this, but Shirley and some other people that have been here for a while, we've just had a lot of struggles with getting our products. We originally, the company that we were using was closing, and then someone else bought it, and then they ran out of the ingredients, and then what we did had got damaged in transit. I mean, it was one thing after another. So we keep scrambling to find replacements. So the names of the things are not identical to what you see in your book. So let me just apologize for that. We're not trying to be confusing. We're
Okay.
just trying to make sure everybody gets something, that's going to do the things it's supposed to do, like probiotics is the good microbiome for the gut. So we
Yeah.
wanted to get a good quality one, so Dr. Infantino scrambled, found it. And so some of them do have different names. So line them all up. I don't need to see if you have three or four of the things, just one of each, so I can see what you have. And then I'll go across that list of what I see, and then I'll let you know which one is the probiotic. If I don't see it, then we know it's missing.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Perfect. And by the way, Gretchen, I know you had a lot of other supplements. If you're taking a probiotic, when you start our program, you can discontinue the old one for now and then start taking ours because it's going to be in compliant with the amounts
Sure.
and all of that sort of stuff, like we just talked about a little bit ago.
Yeah, no problem.
But that would be one you could set aside because it should be, nobody's perfect here, but it should be in that box, or maybe there's a different shipment, and I can find out that
Okay.
for you as well later too.
That's fine.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you
Wonderful.
brought it to my attention, though. That's, again, these what these calls are for.
Great.
All right. So we have this week, I'm talking about atomic habits. Let me just go right into that. So we got some wins, if you want to share any wins you have for this week. And then I've got some funnies. I got just some funny memes. We'll go into atomic habits. I'm basing a lot of the content from this PowerPoint, from today's stuff. I'm basing a lot of it on James Clear's book called Atomic Habits. We'll go into SMART goal setting. We'll go into how to create new habits and get rid of old ones, the four laws of behavior change, and habits to consider starting. So let's get right into it. Okay, some of these weren't so funny, but when a goal isn't specific, measurable, achievable, or time bound, oops. This is the look you get on your face, I guess. Oh, and because we're going to talk about SMART goals. So here's a regular cat setting goals, normal goals, and here's setting SMART goals. I just thought that was cute. Um, a goal without a plan is just a wish. That's right. That's right. All right, so let's dive right in. It's a famous quote. You see it on in a lot of stores, in the art section, a lot of plaques or pictures that you can put on the wall. Um, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's a famous quote by Reinhold Niebuhr. And I liked this to start off with this today because, when we start a program like this or we embark on a new journey, we know we have to do something different if we want different results. But we can't control everything. We can't control everything. We can't control the mother-in-law. We can't control the weather. We can't control, you know, the government. We can't, a lot of things we can't control. But there's a lot of things that we can control. And I like this little prayer, praying for the wisdom to know the difference because there's certain things that we do have control. We can't control, what the office brings into the break room with cookies and candies and sweets and cakes and whatever's, but we can control our response to it. We can't control what the party host puts out for food. We can control what we consume at that party. So I just kind of liked this little saying to get us off to a right start. We do have to make changes, but guess what? Changes can often be very difficult. We get into our routines of our old regular life, and I've always done it this way, and I've always done things that way. Well, if we want something different, we have to do something different. So this is just a picture of Atomic Habits. What's cool about this too, you guys, you can listen to this. Um, you can go to Audible and download it. Get this book and just listen to it. You can obviously buy the book and read it. But what's also cool, if you go into YouTube, they have broken it down. James Clear and other people have broken it down in behavior change and how to create new habits and how to get rid of old habits. And just some of the kind of cartoons or drawing things, they explain it really, really well. I will probably butcher a lot of what they're sharing, but a lot of my content came from this book. So let's dive right in. All right, so we've got different kinds of goals. Now, on Monday night, I broke down the kinds of goals. There's short-term goals, there's long-term goals, there's subjective goals, there's objective goals, there's performance goals, there's outcome goals, and there's process goals. There's all different kinds of goals. And so what I really kind of dove a little deeper dive in on Monday was the process goals. We've got this big ideas, grandiose, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to get all my energy back. I want to fit into my favorite blue jeans or my little black dress, whatever the case may be. But what I want you guys to focus on mostly is your process goals. What is a process goals? Process goals are the little teeny tiny things that we do, little processes that get us toward our goal. So you have the big goal of, okay, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, but what does that even mean? Well, there's little processes. We got to organize our food. We got to prep our food. We got to move our body. We got to read labels. We've got to, manage our calories, track our food. These different little processes is what I really want you guys to focus on to the best of your ability. And it actually makes your life super, super easy if you're breaking it down into little things rather than, boo, I got to lose 50 or 100 pounds. That's big and that's scary and that's can feel more daunting and more scary. So focusing on those little process goals is definitely something we can focus on. Now, you've heard of SMART goals, I'm sure. It's an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. I would like to change out that realistic for more like relevance. And if your goals do not have all five of these things, it's probably not a good goal. So what do we mean by that? Specific. So like a subjective goal would be, I want to lose some weight, or I want to be healthier, or I want to make more money, or something along those lines. It's not specific. It's not specific at all. Versus I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to fit into a size 7, or whatever it is, something a little more specific. If I want to make, $1,000 more a month, that is much more specific. Because if I say I want to make more money and my boss gives me $1 a year raise, Well, I made more money, but let's be specific. So the more specific we are, the brain loves clarity. The brain loves clarity. So the more specific we are, the better. Now, right on its back is measurable. If we're specific, 50 pounds, for example, we can see if we're on track to make our goal. We can measure if we're losing 2 pounds a week, we know it's gonna take 25 weeks to get to that 50 pounds, if that's what we're doing. But it's measurable. If I'm only losing half a pound a week and I'm tracking myself, I know I'm off track and I need to do something different. If I'm not losing, more than a half a pound a week, I'm kind of off track. I'm not saying that's bad. What you guys want to aim for as far as weight loss goes, 1 to 2 pounds is very ambitious. I know it doesn't seem like very much, but it's very ambitious. And you're doing it right if you're doing 1 to 2 pounds a week. If you're losing 10 pounds, in a week, it's a lot of water weight, it's a lot of toxins. That's that first week, that's common. However, once you get on that, once you get rid of those toxins and that water weight gone, you're going to do 1 to 2 pounds a week. But it's got to be measurable. Like if I say I want to lose some weight or I want to make some money, that's not measurable. So we want to be more specific and something that we can measurable. Achievable. Is it, to me, that's more realistic. If I'm going to lose 10 pounds in 10 minutes, that's not really a fair statement. Or, okay, I want to make more money and I want my boss to give me a raise by $1 million a year. That's probably a little bit not so achievable. So we got to break it down and say, well, what can we achieve? And we can grow it and we can build on it and we can compound interest on it. But what would make more sense is something that is 1 to 2 pounds a week, and that would be more achievable. Realistic, I like to say relevant. So if, in my example I gave yesterday or the other day, whatever it was, if I say, well, my goal is I want to become a doctor, but I'm in my 60s, it doesn't go along with my values and my current way I see the next 10 years of my life going. If I want to become a doctor, I would need 10 more years of school. And then I would start my career, which would begin in my 70s. So that doesn't align with what I really want for my life. So in that case, I might have to change that goal. And so I might get more certifications on something that's of interest to me, functional medicine, functional nutrition, like I just did. But you want to make it relevant to align with your values and what you're willing to do or not do. And then finally, if there's a timestamp on it, just like measurable, if I'm losing a pound or a pound and a half or 2 pounds a week, I can see I'm on time to lose my 50 pounds in a 25-week period. But if we don't have any time, it's like, well, if I lose 2 ounces a week, okay, I'm losing weight. But if we give it a timestamp, it forces us to kind of push through. So that is what a SMART goal is. Specific, measurable, achievable, that makes sense scientifically in this case. Is it relevant to your goals and is it timely? All right, so we just talked about goals. Goals are important. Which one do you think is more important? Goals or systems? Would anybody have a guess? For whatever reason, my hand is up. I don't know how to fix that. Let me just say, does anybody want to unmute and guess or no? Well,
I'd say
would it be a fair
systems.
state? Oh, did someone have a guess?
Systems.
That would be 100% right. Oh, Carmen, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
No fair, you've probably seen this one before.
No, actually, I haven't. I
Okay,
may have missed this one.
well,
Thank
glad
you.
to have you back. And
Thank
that's a very good guess, and you're absolutely right. Because would you say it's fair? You got two football teams. You got Green Bay Packers, and you got, I don't know, I'm not into football, Raiders, I don't know, something, Rams. Would it be a fair statement they both have the goal of winning the game, right? They both have the same
Yes,
goal.
of course.
But It's the systems that and how they practice and how they rehearse and how they show up for practice, how often they practice, what they practice, how much they practice, the different systems that they use.
Mhm.
That is going to be far more effective than just having these great goals. You do not rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems. And that is directly from James Clear, the author of those Atomic Habits. So while goals are very, very important, goals will push us. Goals will, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to make more money. I'm going to lose the weight. I'm going to get healthier. And I'm going to write the book, I'm going to open the business, whatever goals you've set out for yourself. But if you don't have some systems in place to write the book, say, okay, I'm going to every morning from 8 to 10 in the morning is when I'm going to do my writing or do my research to prepare for the writing, whatever your system is. But you have to have some sort of system. And hopefully that's communicated with the system that we've given you guys, food and supplement wise as well. But definitely want to have some good systems in place, systems, routines, things that you do on a regular basis that keep you going and doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. All right, so massive change versus 1% shift. What do you think is going to be the most impactful? And I know you guys probably all know this one, so but Tony Robbins has said this, and I used to go take his courses back when CDs were a thing. I had all his CD sets, and I've gone to his in-person courses as well. He's very, very, very inspiring, and I really just love a lot of his teaching and a lot of his works. But he calls it a MAP, massive action plan, and he says never set a goal or never set a goal without taking some massive action right away. Well, that's inspiring and that's good. But I would say we can do a map, but I would say make it a micro action plan. If we improve by just 1% every day, by just 1%, we are 37% better by the end of the year. And the studies show the likelihood that we will continue to move forward and keep going and not drop out and not give up is if we're doing little tiny, eensy weensy, incremental new little habits or new little systems or new little exercises or new little practices. If you've never exercised before, start with one muscle group and do 2 exercises for that one muscle group. We don't have to work the entire body 2 hours every day. You don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and work the treadmill for an hour and then do lifting weights for an hour and then take a Zumba class, and that is not the way we're going to make change because nobody can stick with that. But if we improve just tiny little things each and every day, by 1%, we're 37% better by the end of the year. So if you're doing little changes, you're on the right track. You're on a better track. And I'm telling you this from my experience, the people that join my program or this program, any program that I've ever taught in my career it's mostly been weight loss, but now I'm loving the other nutritional stuff that I've learned. But the people that come in and say, oh, just tell me what to do. I'm going to do everything you say. And I'm going to, that if I say get up at 4 in the morning and work out, that's going to last maybe a week. We all know that's, especially if it's cold outside and it's dark outside. So little practices are going to serve you far better. Willpower versus discipline. Which one do you think is better? Anybody? Willpower is just something that's a conscious choice we make right here and right now, but it fades. It really fades. It's like, oh, I'm not going to eat the cookie. 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 And I eat the cookies. So if we practice little disciplines, little 1% changes, little practices, getting things in your calendar, and being very specific, going back to the SMART goals, if you're specific, if I say I'm going to exercise 3 times next week, I think that's not going to serve you as well as being very specific and saying, okay, I'm going to do Monday at 6 p.m., Wednesday at 6 p.m., and Friday at 9 a.m. That's what I'm going to do. And on Monday, it's going to be yoga. And on Wednesday, it's going to be leg day. And on Friday, it's going to be upper body, whatever the case may be. The more specific with time, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do, these are little disciplines that I can implement. And if I get them in my calendar and they're part of my systems, it's going to last me a lot longer than trying to use willpower. So finding other little systems, we're going to go into more of that, how we can create those. But I would say focus on your disciplines and things that we can do toward our goals. And even if it's just that 1%. Identity. We went on to this at length yesterday. Who you think you are is how you show up. And this how we show up is who we think we are is how we show up to pretty much everything. So how you identify, and we all have many, 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 many layers. Nobody is just one thing. So I would say I identify as a mother, I identify as an American, I identify as a woman, I identify as a dancer, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a good friend. There's just a lot of different layers of how I identify. And the meanings that we give all of those things is how I show up to the world. So as a dancer, I was joking about it yesterday, because I'm a dancer and that's kind of who I am, because I spend a lot of my time doing that. Even when I'm not dancing or I'm somewhere, if I hear music, I'm bopping and I don't even care if somebody's watching. It's part of who I am. And the more we can suit up and show up for who we are, let's see. Let me see. There we go. So every time we create a new habit, and we take that 1%, we take that 1% change, and we keep doing that over and over and over again. It's how we create the new version of ourselves. In module 2, I'm not sure which training it'll say though, the identity one. If you write down all the things that you think you are, just write down as many as you can. Take a minute, take 2 minutes, take 3 minutes. Write down all the things that you think you are. I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm a grandma, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a good friend, I'm a homeowner, I'm an employee, I've been an employer, I identify as both a follow and a leader. All the things, write down whatever you are, if you're a wife, if you're a husband, whatever that is. And then also I would encourage you guys to write down who you would like to become. And then circle your top 3 favorites and make at least one of them who you want to become. And then as you go through your next week, this is just a little homework assignment, but I think I go more into it in the exercise in module 2. But I want you to go through the week and do things that person would do. So if I identify as because I'm a fitness professional, that's another identity. What would a fitness professional do? Well, she would probably go to the gym, and she'd probably read labels on the food she's buying, and she'd probably meal prep, and she'd probably make sure she's getting a vegetable and a protein at every meal and a healthy fat. So if you start to reverse engineer it, and then as you do some of those things, give yourself a point, give yourself a credit, and watch and see at the end of the day how many points you get for each identity that you're trying to perpetuate or improve upon or become more of. And it's just a way to convince your subconscious mind that you are becoming that. Because if I say I am strong and fit, and I get on the scale or I try to zip up my pants and it's not working, consciously I do not believe that. So we've got to say something that we've got to come to the place of believing, because your belief system is very, very powerful. It drives your emotions, which drives your actions. all of your belief systems end up being your actions. Because if I believe a certain way about myself, if I believe I'm not capable, I'm right. If I believe I'm capable, I'm right. So we want to do things that promote the belief system of this new identity. And so if every time you do something toward, I'm becoming a fit person, I'm becoming a healthy person, give yourself that credit, and now you will begin to believe, hey, I am making better choices. I am making better food choices. I am beginning to move my body a little bit more than I used to. And these are things that we can believe. Okay. Okay, so here we are, the 4 laws of behavior change. There's the cue, there's the craving, there's the response, and the reward. So the cue is the trigger. It's the trigger. You want to make it obvious. Yeah, so you want to make it obvious. If you're trying to eat more vegetables or fruits, put it, I know we're limited on fruits, but this is just an example. Put fruit out on the fruit bowl or have vegetables in the fridge. Have it where you're going to see it often. Have it where it's real obvious. If you're trying to go to the gym, put those clothes in your car or lay them out. So in the morning, that's the first thing you're going to put on your body is your gym clothes. Make it really, really obvious. The craving, make it attractive. Make it satisfying. Let's see. So one of the things we can do is temptation bundling. So you bundle it with something else that you like to do. So if you're not into meal prepping, for example, but you love certain kinds of music, or maybe there's a series on Netflix that you want to watch. Allow yourself to sit down and watch a couple of episodes of your favorite, series once you've done your meal prep. Make it attractive. Give it something a way to make it more fun. If you're going to the gym, bring your headphones, put on your favorite music, put on your favorite podcast, make it attractive. If you don't really like to cook, find a recipe that really excites you. Making it attractive. You want to make it, if you're going to the gym, make it a gym that's close by your house. Or that would actually fall under the make it easy. So making it easy. Well, if you do meal prep, when you go through the rest of your week, your choice, what you're going to have for lunch will be really, really, really easy if you have meal prepped. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Please meal prep your food. That is probably the most impactful thing that you can do in this genre, in this program, is having the food at least ready to cook. At least chop it up and have it, I chop up all my veggies usually once a month and I put them in the freezer, but I can make a stir fry in less than 10 minutes because I can pull all the stuff out of the freezer, put it in the pan, and boom, boom, it's done. I have all of my stuff ready to go, chopped up, easy peasy. If you're trying to drink more water, put water bottles in every single room. Make it obvious and make it easy. So every time you see that cue, oh, there's another water bottle, I better drink it. Make it easy. Make it, so you can grab it. Fill up several. I have several water bottles that I use my filter bottle, but I fill these up at the beginning of the day. So it's easy, grab and go, grab and go. It's almost as important as meal prep. If I have to keep filling something up, I might not do it as much, but if I fill these bottles up, and I buy these at the dollar store, by the way, so it doesn't have to be hard. And the last one is making it satisfying. It's the reward part of it. It's got to be a reward. If I tell you to get up at 4 a.m. to exercise, what the heck? What kind of reward is there? How do you what? So I would say, people ask me, when's the best time to exercise? My answer is the time that you will go. So if you're a night owl and you think you're going to get up at 5 a.m. to exercise when it's cold and it's December, probably not going to happen. But one of the ways to make exercise, this is an example, to make exercise more satisfying is track it. Track your exercise because guess what? So in the module 5 is the exercise plan. I want you to track that because I've broken it down into 4 parts: chest, legs, back, and core, right? So if you track it, say, okay, I did 10 push-ups, 10 wall push-ups, and I did, 3 sets of 10 chest flies. So the next time you come back, you see what you did before, and then now the object of the game is to increase it. So maybe do another set, or maybe go, instead of 10, go to 15, or make it heavier, or add a third exercise. But every time you increase it a little bit, it feels satisfying because you feel like you've accomplished something and it feels good. If you can make any of the process of creating these new habits feel good, make it satisfying, make it easy, make it attractive, and make it obvious, you're likely going to do it again. The reward is really important because that's what triggers something in the brain to remember that. We like that because it makes us feel good. The dopamine gets triggered when it's satisfying. So tracking your progress is a great way to do that with your exercise because you can see it in writing yourself getting stronger. That's the cool thing. Yummy recipes. Make sure it's something you really, really would like to try. And that way you can get excited and be satisfied with it. Hopefully you do a good job and the recipe is a good recipe and it is satisfying. But pick out something that you like. So on the weekend or when you have some time off, take a few minutes to go through some recipes and pick out something that sounds really good and satisfying. I was talking with a client this morning and she said, I love crossing things off my list. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That's another way to make doing your to-dos satisfying. Is if I get to cross something off my list. Oh, I worked out. I did my meal prep, cross it off the list. Um, so those are some things that we can do um, to make them easier, more attractive, and satisfying. Being patient is really important. So many people start the program and they're moving along, and all of a sudden a little plateau happens and they want to throw in the towel and give up. Please understand this is not linear. It's not a straight arrow down, especially on the weight loss front of things. Even with your gut health, it might improve for a little bit and then it might back up a little bit. Or the eczema or the psoriasis shows up a little bit. Some of those things do come back. This is not a straight line. Your body is going through a lot of healing processes. But be patient with yourself, be patient with the program. Do not give up when we get frustrated. I've seen discouragement and I've seen frustration take people out. So this is when you reach out to me for help, for support, for just holding your hand in whatever way I can. If it's a situation you don't know what to do, it seems futile, like how do I handle that? Whatever, get on the phone with me and a Zoom call, and if you can share in a group call, that's great too. But together as a group or one-on-one, we'll come up with some kind of plan that works. We'll brainstorm something, but be patient with yourself and with the program. So there's that. All right, so the bonus round, definitely optimize your environment, making your environment promote what you're trying to do. So if you have chips and cookies and candies, a lot of these, I realize it's December and all this stuff ends up in our house or in the break room at the office and all those things. But if you can clear out your cabinets and your drawers of the junk foods, give them away, freeze them, put it in the garage, put it on high shelf, put it in the freezer, whatever. Make it a lot harder to get to the bad stuff and make it really easy to get to the good stuff. The 2-minute rule, this goes back to that 1% thing. Okay, so I've got this big goal. I got to start working out, and I've never worked out a day in my life. This feels overwhelming and scary and daunting. So if you break it down into little things, well, what can I do in 2 minutes? Well, I could put my tennis shoes on in 2 minutes. Boom. And now I get to cross that off the list. I feel successful. So if I just give myself that one thing, so today I'm just going to put my tennis shoes on. Now, this could go one of two ways. Now you can go, well, I've got my tennis shoes on. Maybe I'll just go ahead and take myself for a walk. Or you can say, you know what? I did the thing. I did what I was supposed to do. I put my tennis shoes on. Tomorrow, I'll add one more thing. Either way is fine. The baby steps, you can make them super baby steps or giant baby steps. But either way, make it somewhat of a baby step, something you can do in 2 minutes. Maybe in 2 minutes, you can look up the 3 nearest gyms to your house. And maybe one's a yoga studio, and one's a Pilates studio, and one's a boxing gym, and one's just a regular gym. Whatever, try them all. But you can do that in 2 minutes, but it's toward your goal. And you can cross that off your list, and it feels successful. So it's not once again, oh, I went the whole day, I didn't work out. Well, no, don't start with the workout. Start with preparing to get to the workout. Get the shoes on. What are you going to do when you get there? Where are you going to go? Maybe start looking at YouTube trainers and just working out from home. Something you can do in 2 minutes. Habit stacking. That is when you put an old habit with a new habit. So say in the morning, you brush your teeth every morning and you find yourself, you keep forgetting your supplements. This is a common one. Oh, I forgot my supplements and I ran off to work. So if you habit stack, you're going to brush your teeth every morning. So maybe put your supplements by your toothbrush, stacking it with something you're already doing. And so now you create that routine, you create that, that momentum. Okay, I'm brushing my teeth. It must be time to start thinking about my supplements. So stacking an old habit with a new habit. Temptation bundling, that's where you stack something with something you really don't want to do, but know you should, with something you really want to do, but that's more of a waste of time. So a waste of time might be scrolling through social media, but it's kind of addicting and it's kind of fun. So if you say, all right, once I meal prep, I'll allow myself to do 15 minutes of scrolling. Or the other example I gave, I'll allow myself, a couple of episodes on Netflix. But bundling something you don't like to do with something you do like to do. Maybe, okay, so I don't really love to work out, but I love my favorite podcast. Get those headphones on and do that. So put it with something that you love or like doing, and that will help make it more attractive as well. It's another way to make it more attractive. The habit stacking is a way to make it more obvious. CCIA, we gotta we gotta practice our CCIA. So what is that? It's consistent, committed, imperfect action. So as long as you keep taking step towards. So I know there's a lot of people who join this program and they're like, oh, I'm not ready to start. I'm not ready to start. I only read the book twice. I'm not really sure what to eat. I don't know what to do. You know what? I would say just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're tracking your food and you turn it in that first week, I will catch any oopsies, any things that shouldn't be on your menu. I will catch it. The good news is it's not brain surgery. So if you do it wrong, you don't die, but I'll catch it. But as long as you stay tracking, as long as you keep trying, as long as you think you're doing the right thing, you are building that momentum of it's who I am. I am doing the next right thing. I am doing the next right thing. And if it turns out, oops, that's not the next right thing, that's okay. I am doing what I thought was the next right thing is good enough. Consistent, committed, imperfect action is important because if we wait till we're perfect, it won't happen. Who was 100% ready for kids when they had kids? Like nobody's 100% ready. You have them and then you learn how to do it, right? It's the same thing. Once you start this program, that's when you learn how to do it. All right, so we talked about how to create habits, how to make it harder, make them harder for the habits we want to get rid of. But what the heck, what habits should you create? Like maybe this is really new for you. So the first one, and this is a really important one, You should always know where your next meal is. Where is it? Where is it coming from? What is it? And is it in your house? And is it available? That should be most important. Because if it's almost dinner time and you don't know what you're having for dinner, that drive-through looks way too convenient. That Uber Eats or DoorDash or whatever those things are, they are way too easy if you don't already know. Again, go into the kitchen hacks section of how you can make meal planning or meal prepping super, super, super easy. That way you always have a backup plan in your freezer or in your cabinets, in your pantry. So you always know there's a backup. Because if you think, oh, I have chicken and vegetables, and then I open it up and the vegetables are slimy, they went bad on me. Uh-oh, now what? If I have a backup, I always know there's always frozen vegetables in my freezer. At least I know I can have a vegetable. But always have a backup, know where your next meal is. Let's see here. Spend 5 or more minutes learning about your ingredients list. We go over that at length in several different of the topics, label reading, top mistakes I see people making. I get a list of that. Shocking secrets the big food companies don't want you to know. Those are topics that are going to go over what's in your foods. And so spend a little bit of time, because once you understand that what some of these chemicals are carcinogens or are going to cause problems in your body, or have glyphosate, which is Roundup, which is a pesticide. Once you start to learn this stuff, you're really going to make different choices. You don't have to have a degree in all this stuff, but just spend a few minutes on the regular and learning about some of these ingredients names that you've never heard of before. If you don't see it in your kitchen now, or if you don't see it on the shelf at the grocery store of an ingredient to buy, but it's got 18 letters to it, you probably shouldn't be eating it. It's a lot of preservatives, a lot of stuff that makes your food will last way longer on the shelf. And that's not good for your body, especially if it's colored dyes and stuff too. So this next one, this is a habit. This is a good, good, good habit. Never be without some protein and some veggies in your freezer. Again, it is a backup plan. I want you guys to focus on proteins and veggies. Of course, your healthy fats, like your good oils, having avocados. You can freeze avocados, by the way. So if you buy a big bag of avocados and they're starting to go bad, scoop them out. You don't even have to do that. You can put them in the freezer whole if you want to. But you can scoop it out, put them in an ice cube tray or any kind of container. And that way you can pop it out of the ice cube tray and have guacamole. You can add it to a shake. You can add it to a meal once it thaws out. Lots of things you can do, but always have frozen foods, uh, vegetables, and proteins in your freezer as a backup plan. Cans of tuna, cans of chicken, those kinds of things are just great backups. Yeah, be very specific as to your workouts. The more specific you are, that's why, again, module 2, or not module 2, module 5 has the plan for you. You're just going to do one part a day. But if you set a time, if you do not set a time and you don't say which body part you're going to do, if I just say tomorrow, the whole day goes. The whole day goes, and all of a sudden it's time to go to bed, and you're like, oh, I was supposed to exercise today. If you said it, I said I'm going to do it at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., it'll trigger something in your brain. The more likely it will be to happen. That's how you set yourself up for that 1%. Make it easy. If you know what time and what body part, that's making it easier for your brain. Trying a new recipe one time a month. If you just get in that habit, the first of the month, that first Saturday of the month, how about that? And just go, okay, now I'm going to find myself a recipe. Oh, I want to do a dessert this month. I want to do a breakfast this month. I want to do whatever. Spend a little time to look up something that's going to get you real excited, so it's attractive and it's satisfying, and you'll do it. And then once you make this recipe a couple of times, it will become automatic and easy. Focusing on the benefits of the foods. What is this food doing for me? And a couple weeks ago when we went into the aging and this program, all the foods that we're asking you to eat happen to be all the foods that are good for inflammation or, anti-inflammatory, that are also good for gut, that are also good for weight management. So if we're focusing on the benefits of the foods, it gets us more excited about eating those vegetables, about eating lean proteins, about wild caught fish versus those farm fish. Understand the difference. Again, if you're brand new, I will teach that to you through these courses. But if you're focusing on the benefit, it just makes it more desirable to eat the stuff we're supposed to eat. And if you focus on the the foods that are bad for us, like the sugar and the dairy and the gluten, what it's actually doing in your body, what these chemicals, these fake foods, these colors, these food dyes, if you focus on the damage that they're doing in the body, it makes them less desirable. Again, we want things to be attractive and satisfying. So if we feel like, oh, this is going to make my skin less wrinkly, it's going to make my eyes better, my vision better, it's going to improve my heart health, it's going to improve my brain health, it's going to improve my gut health, we're more likely to include these foods or avoid the bad ones. And then just doing a little bit better each week. So if you worked out only 2 times this week, maybe commit to 3 times. You don't have to work out for an hour. Actually, it's best less than an hour, 50 minutes or less. Several times a week is really recommended. Get your body moving. Walking is great, but I encourage some strength training as well. I will be talking about exercise probably the first week of January. So stay tuned for that. But anything, if you're meal prep, but you only made enough for 3 days, see what we can do better. If you didn't have any vegetables, but for one meal, maybe next week, plan for vegetables at 2 meals. Little things like that. Okay, so I have my funnies at the end here. Does anybody have any questions or comments or thoughts?
This is Gretchen.
Hey, Gretchen.
I will say that I read Atomic Habits probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago. What you just did in 40 minutes, 50 minutes brought it home. I'll pull it out of my bookcase and read it again. But thank you. Yeah, it was very helpful.
Oh, that's so good to hear. I always feel like because I get the information and I watch these YouTubes and I read the book or I listen to parts of the book and I want to, obviously put it in a 40-minute deal. But I
Yeah,
feel like I butcher it compared to the way he explains it. He's the author. But
yeah,
it's such good information and habits are so important. Like the first, the serenity prayer. We need to know what we do have control of, which is our habits, our actions, which hopefully become good habits on the daily or on the regular. And it's such a challenge if we've always done it this way and we're saying, hey, but we got to do it now this way. It's like, oh, that's weird. Someone said, what do I eat for breakfast on Veggie Day? Because there's no eggs on Veggie Day, right? It's like, that's weird to eat vegetables for breakfast, but we got to do some things a little bit different. So it's
yeah,
different, but
yeah,
it's temporary.
yeah.
A lot of it's temporary, and a lot of it's for the better good of your gut and
Yeah, it
liver.
was great. It was great the way you specifically puts the SMART program to our program, as a lot of people talk about the SMART program, but they don't really roll it into a specific idea. So I appreciated that. And the baby steps and the 1% shifts um, is a biggie for me because it's scary when you look at all of this as a big change. But if you can do a little baby step every day, I know how important that is.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate that. That helps me too. Makes me feel like I'm on the right track. I never know how it's going to land. I create this. I really enjoy this work, so I enjoy putting it together and what I want to include and try not to overwhelm, but not underwhelm either. So I never know if I'm giving too much or if it's too basic or generic. I don't know. There's some chats in here. Someone says thanks. There's a workbook for Atomic Habits. Ooh, that's good to know. That is really good. If you guys want to go all in on this, grab that book and practice it. I love that. I did not know that. Mini steps, yes. Oh, you guys in the chat, if you can see it, Carmen has put a link to the Atomic Habits workbook. So if you click it now, even though you're on the Zoom call, it'll open. And then once this is over, this Zoom call is over, you'll have it open in on your computer. So if you guys want to click on that, I would highly encourage it because this is the hardest part is doing things differently, because the subconscious mind is your habit mind. And if you got 40 years of doing it this way, and I say do it that way, like I said, we get all ambitious and we're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm like, oh, heck no, I'm going to go back to my old ways. That's why we start things and don't finish them. It's just because the subconscious mind is way, way, way too powerful. All right. So that's all I have for you guys today. Don't forget drinfantino.club that you see at the bottom there. That is where you find all the replays. Does anybody have any other questions? Evelyn, you just got here, but I'm kind of wrapping up unless someone has a question. All right, going. Oh, Evelyn, you're muted. I can't hear you. Are you, unless you're not talking to me?
I just joined too, but I'm going to join you at noon.
It's 12:55.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So the next one is at 12:55 at 1 today or at noon?
No, it's over. You just missed the whole thing.
Okay.
But I do have a
I'm sorry.
No, don't be. That once they change the times, which is
Yeah.
what, November,
Yeah.
it's still screwing people up. I still have people joining the last 2 minutes of the call.
Yeah.
And
That's me.
yeah,
Okay. Well,
but
I messed up, so
I did see you on my schedule coming up,
yes. Next Tuesday, I think.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll drop off.
No worries. Anybody else have any other questions? Evelyn, did you have something? And now, Evelyn, you are muted and I can't see you. Well, if nobody has any other questions, I will say good night or goodbye, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you all next time. So thank you. Bye-bye.